Today in the news, we got a look into the mind of Intel, a new affordable but not really SSD option, and a new actually affordable way to capture. What's up guys, I'm Snows and this is your boot sequence. I am glad I stayed up late last night to make this episode because we actually got some pretty interesting information into the minds at Intel. I know we joke a lot about how Intel's 10nm process has been delayed many times and how they're just refreshing their 14nm line, but we now know why, or more precisely, what they were thinking. During an earnings call at the Credit Suisse TMT conference, Robert Swan, the interim CEO of Intel, gave us some information. Here's what he said. We set out in the transition to 10nm to attempt to scale much faster than we ever had at a time when I think most would argue the technology, the science, the challenges are more challenging than they've ever been. So we took a fairly aggressive scaling factor, roughly 2 times of what the competitors do. So we went for the analogy of a grand slam when the competition was hitting really solid singles. We'll come back to that quote in a second, but you see, AMD was in the same situation back in their Bulldozer series. While it was a great value offering back in 2011, maybe up to 2013, they kept refreshing the same thing over and over, changing its name and making minor improvements. This continued up until the release of Zen in early 2017. I'd love to dive deeper into AMD's CPU history, so let me know what you think of a dedicated video up here. AMD did hit their grand slam with Zen, although that move only made them a viable competitor rather than putting them ahead of Intel. What I gathered from this earnings call with Intel CEO is that Intel's plan was to eclipse whatever AMD had in mind by jumping from 14nm to 10nm, and with Intel's incredible chip design, this would have been their grand slam. I mean, Cannon Lake was supposed to come out in 2016. Intel reset their expectation back in April this year, and they say that they are in track for 10nm on desktops in 2020. With AMD advancing at a steady pace to 7nm with Zen 2 and Intel working hard on their 10nm process, all we know is that 2019 and 2020 are going to be spectacular years for mainstream and high-end CPUs. Anyways, I just thought that this quote from Mr. Swan was worth exploring. Let me know what you thought down below. Then in memory news, we got a new series of SSDs coming out in December from Samsung. The 860 QVO will use QLC NAND flash to allow for higher capacity and lower prices. The price will start at around $149 for a 1TB model, and the QVO will go up to 4TB. In terms of capacity, it's pretty impressive, but considering this is a SATA SSD and that it will pretty much cap at around 500 megabytes per second in read and writes, this price doesn't seem that great. I mean, you could grab the Intel 660p 1TB NVMe for around that price and you would triple your speeds. Hell, you could get a Crucial or an ADATA SSD for even cheaper. The price does seem to scale, so the 4TB model is $600 compared to the $1,000 of the 860 EVO, but personally I would go with multiple 1TB drives to put them in RAID for redundancy or for speed. Speaking of Samsung, some of you guys gave me a hard time on the Samsung displays that were showcased during their event 2 weeks back. During that event, Samsung unveiled 3 kinds of Infinity displays with notches: the Infinity O, V, U, and the new Infinity. Let me make this clear. I never said that Samsung would notch their flagship phones. I just said that they would have some fun with notches on their phones. Well, looks like the Samsung Galaxy A8s might be the first phone with an Infinity O display. This information comes from allaboutsamsung.de. This mid-range device is rumored to sport a Snapdragon 710, 6GB of RAM, and 128GB of storage. That's a lot of storage. I remember when I got my first smartphone. It was the HTC Hero, I believe, and it had half a gigabyte of storage. At least it had a micro SD slot. Anyways, notch or not, and I would rather not, the A8s still looks like a great phone. Then we have a new addition to the Elgato family, and I've got to say, it's a pretty good one. The Cam Link 4K comes to replace the original Cam Link, and it was released yesterday. Usually, you'd spend around $200 to $600 for a good quality 4K capture card, and closer to $100 for a 1080p 60 one. Well, the new Cam Link 4K does both and more for $129. At this price, you get 4K 30 captures and under, so if you wanted to record your gameplay or start streaming, this is a powerful and affordable piece of tech. This isn't an ad or a sponsored video or anything, by the way. This is just amazing value in my opinion. If 1080p is all you want to do though, there are options under $80 available. Anyways, that is pretty much it for the news, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you've noticed that my hand or parts of my face are covered in stains, it's because I've been staining wood. Don't ask me why. Don't forget to drop a like down below. As usual, have yourselves a great day, stay frosty, and I'll see you on the next one. I wonder if you guys wonder if I'm wearing pants, because I am.